Hey, are you a bass player that plays gospel or someone who's wanting to learn how to play gospel music? Well, I have something that I've created for bass players just like you. I've been creating these gospel bass jam tracks. I've already created contemporary gospel, gospel quartet, and now I've created the straight gospel bass jam pack. And what that basically is my interpretation of gospel choir music. It's something that I think is really essential to learning how to really play and understand gospel music. Now, this bass jam pack features music that feels more like the gospel choir stuff, which is not to be confused with praise and worship or gospel quartet, any of that kind of stuff. It's slightly different. It's all gospel. The thing about gospel, if you've listened to it, it's pretty vast. It's a lot of stuff that you can learn in gospel music, and I understand that not everyone has access to that music, and not everybody understands that there's so many different areas of gospel music. So if you are a bass player that's wanting to know more about gospel, want to have something to jam to, I've created this pack just for you. And as well, I've created the instructional to go along with it. So I'm going to be breaking down all 6 of these tracks, showing you exactly what I'm doing. You're going to get my version of my bass take of what I'm playing, how I would approach it, as well as getting the sheet music and the tab if you need that. Some of you guys just play by ear, and that's fine. I'm going to walk you through exactly what I'm doing, using the number system and all that kind of stuff, so that you can get a good idea how to approach this and add it to your arsenal of things to pull out. So if you just happen to find yourself in that gospel music situation, you know exactly what to do. So I encourage you to check out this gospel pack and start adding a little bit more to your arsenal. I'll see you on the inside. Peace. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Grooves and Motivation Live. I'm Jermaine Morgan. Be sure to let me know where you're watching from. I see we have some people already join in. It's currently 7:30. Giving you the time and the weather. It's currently 7:30 and it's raining here where I'm at, here in Georgia. How's your weather? All right, guys. Enough goofing around. I'm gonna jump right into this thing. Yeah, let me know where you're watching from. I always love seeing, people around the world that's joining in. I know it's different times depending on where you are, but it's always cool to, always cool to see where you guys are joining in from. Atlanta's in the building. Tyrone, good morning to you, man. Good morning to you. So let's jump in, man. Corey Robinson. Louisville, Kentucky. Derby City. Yes, sir. Derby City. Absolutely. So good to see you, man. Well, good to see your name. Y'all can see me. I can't see y'all. All right. All right. So let's see here. I got some stuff pulled up. I had a couple of tunes prepared I was going to play. And, we'll get to them in a second. James, good morning to you, man. James, where you watching from this morning? Yeah. Steven, good morning to you, man. I forgot to send pictures so that I could put these pictures on this live this morning. I guess I'll do it next week. Some of you guys that follow me on social media, you've seen a few of the posts about my own custom strap. I'm pretty excited about that's being designed by Evo straps. I will be making those. If you're following me on social media and you want to know, all right, dude, what can we get the strap? Because I've had a lot of people hit me up about them. Let me see if I can send these and so I can show them to you guys. I'm gonna try to do this. I don't know if I can do it this morning. If not, I'll do it on another day. But I do want to show you guys a few of the new stuff we got coming, if you will, like they say. All right, so that little ding you just heard, if you heard that, that's what that is. I'm trying to, let me see if I can pull this in or I could show it to you guys. No, this is very unprofessional. I apologize. But I just thought about it. All right, sorry about that. So I want to pull these in. I want to show them to you. as everybody is joining us. I didn't want to play just yet. All right, let's do this. Let's do that. And be sure, if you're just joining, be sure to let me know who you are and where you're watching from. I love to I would love to hear that this morning. Where you're watching from this morning. All right, so we got those. Let's try that. There you go. Let me make that a little smaller so you guys can check that out. These are my new straps that are coming out. There we go. Y'all can check those out. And so basically, it's the logo. That's just like a few of the designs that are happening. But Evo straps. They're handmade leather straps designed in Brazil. Some of you guys may have seen some of the players that are already using these Evo straps. They have a lot of different designs and everything that you can check out. But these are my own custom designs that we're having designed and made. Well, I think those are being shipped now, but I'll have some more. So if you're interested in that, I'll put it on the website so you guys can check it out and find out how to get those. And I'll have all that information pretty soon. So yeah. So who else we have this morning? The director is. Good morning, Jermaine. What mix are you using and how many channels do you have? All right, so I have a video coming soon about this new piece of gear that I have. And I'm going to talk about it extensively in this video. But for now, the short version, and let me mention this, by the way, this was sent to me by the good folks over at Sweetwater. Yeah, this is the Studio Live AR16C. 16 channels input. It's a mixing board, but it can do a lot more than just, live mixes. Obviously, I'm live and I'm running through this mixer to go live because I've been struggling with this whole setup. My MacBook, I got an older interface. I got the PreSonus Studio Live, like the old one. I think just like the first generation, boy, and it is cool. I like it. It's warm. I don't really have any problems with it. The only thing is the compatibility with this particular MacBook that I'm broadcasting on, because I got an iMac that I do all my other stuff on, but my MacBook that I go live on, it wasn't able to connect, and I was having a hard time finding, something that was compatible that could merge the two. Maybe some of you guys are dealing with that if you're doing any production or any kind of work, something like that. But as I was doing my research, I ran across this thing and I was like, yo, this is a sweet solution. Even with the, I spoke to you guys about possibly going live with my band. And that was my issue. I didn't have enough inputs to do that. Well, I'm sorry, not enough inputs, but I couldn't like merge the two worlds with my computer, my MacBook, and the current mixer that I had. So this seemed to be a better solution overall because I can again run 16 channels in, and that's for what I do. That's plenty of enough channels to get everything in, and then I still have these auxiliary channels that's available as well. So it's a whole lot of stuff that I can't get into right now, but to answer your question, this is what this is. If you want to look it up, it's called the Studio Live AR16C by PreSonus. So again, I'll do an official video on this. But just so you know, that's what it is that I'm using here. And it's definitely a new piece of gear. All right. So Champaign, Illinois. Do you have a lesson which covers ghost notes? Absolutely, I do. I think I have a lesson here on YouTube, but I know for sure I have one on the monthly membership lessons. And yeah, you can definitely check that out. Team Ramrod, good morning, man. God bless you. Tiffany, good morning to you. Andrew, thank God it's Tuesday. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Miss J, good morning to you. Sorry, you guys see the straps. I think that's enough publicity right now for a second. I'll come back later and put it back up here so y'all can see it again. But no, I just wanted to show those to you guys, whoever, for the ones who are interested. You're not following me on social media. I can't talk this morning. On social media, I wanted to take a minute and just kind of show that stuff to you guys. So, all right, I wanted to jump into some music that I had prepared to play a couple of songs that I've written, and they are out. This first song kind of ties into, I really wanted to do it because it ties into today's topic. You can weather any storm. This is a song that I wrote years ago. I produced it on my mom's record. Like, how long ago is this? Had to be 2009, 2010 that we did this song. And we turned around and rewrote the song, or tweaked the song, and we released it on our Ricky Dillard. And I don't know what year that was. It's probably in the last, and it was the record 10. If you've seen that record, it was the record called 10. I think that's the name of the album. And yeah, we released that song on his record. A good friend of mine and I, Zeke Listenby, we both co-wrote the revised version of the song, and I'm going to be playing a variation of that one closer to the one for the Ricky Dillard record this morning. No words on it though. The one Ricky Dillard has the words, but this one has no words. But anyway, hope you guys will enjoy it. All right, so Andre, good morning to you. Music for Jesus. Good morning, Jermaine. School is finally over for the semester. Awesome. Y'all hung on a long little while, didn't you? Charles, good morning, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad to be anywhere today. Absolutely. All right, so let's find this track. Let's get into it. Now, I will warn you guys. We produced this. It had to be at least 5 years ago, and I just listened to it again this morning. So I'm just saying, if it's some flubs, y'all know this is Grooves of Motivation live. This is all live. So you got to give me some grace this morning. All right, let's get into it. Let's have some fun with this thing. Snap your fingers like this. All right, all right, all right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that tune. Again, the name of that song is Weather the Storm. Weather the Storm. You can find that song, that particular version of the song, on Ricky Dillard's album 10. I think the name of that record is 10, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, check that out. Written by myself and Zeke Listenby. You can also find it on Peggy Moore, the original version on Peggy Moore. What's the name of the record? I can't even remember the name. I Made It. The name of the record is I Made It. And yeah, you can find it. I think both of them are here on YouTube. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Yeah, you can weather the storm. That's really did I, she said sorry, but did I miss the flubs? They were definitely there. I don't know how you missed them. But you can definitely check those songs out. I said that. So that song has a lot to do with the title today. You can weather any storm, and we'll get into that. But yeah, just wanted to kind of play y'all a little music. That song popped into my head when I was thinking about today. I wasn't gonna call it this particular title, but I was like, I wanted to play something that's kind of has something to do with what I'm gonna be talking about today. And I'm like, that song immediately came to mind. Wow, that'd be a cool song. They've never heard me do that song before. Probably didn't know I did the song. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Hopefully, again, you guys enjoyed that song. I got one more song that I want to do as far as official songs. And I haven't played this one in a while either. So real quick, I really don't say much about this, but if you guys enjoy the music that you hear, you enjoy the stuff that I play, I do have albums available. I don't do a lot of talking about them, but from time to time I do play some of my music. But there's my first record, which The Journey Continues, is available. All of this stuff, by the way, is available on all digital platforms. I do have some hard copies of the music. You would have to go to the website and order that. But the first record was The Journey Continues, I think. Yeah, that's the first record. The Journey Continues. Then I did a follow-up record to that that was like a vocal EP. I'm singing. The name of the record is called I'm Not Afraid. It's about 4 songs on that little EP. And the next record I have is Grooves and Ideas, Part 1. Volume 1 rather. So yes, there is a Grooves and Ideas Volume 2 coming. I did that like 2013. Y'all bear with me. I'm still working on music. I still have it, and it's gonna be released, but I'm still gathering stuff. That was kind of like for you musicians, to give you an idea. I was playing, traveling and playing, producing all this stuff with Canton Jones at the time. And just a quick backstory. And one of the things I noticed in the rap community or hip hop community, whatever, those guys are always putting out music. And, the business side, I learned a lot working with Canton Jones and watching him and watching the business side of how he worked. If any of you guys don't know who Canton Jones is, just do a quick Google search or, look him up on YouTube or whatever. But I traveled and produced, played with Canton Jones and still do in terms of production work. But worked with him for many years. But when I was traveling with him, that's one thing I noticed. He was always working on music. We would be on the plane, and this guy, if we're in the airport, he has his laptop out working on music. On the plane, working on working on different music and that kind of thing. So I was very, very inspired by that. And if you follow Canton Jones, he was always releasing something new. He was always releasing a mixtape or something like that. And so I got inspired by, working with him. I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of songs. I got a lot of ideas because I'm always creating music, especially at the time. I'm like, I'm creating a lot of music. I need to get this stuff out. It's not like I wouldn't consider this like the big record, so to speak, but there are a lot of good ideas, and I can incorporate a lot of people. So what I started doing is I started just compiling a lot of the songs that I had, inviting different players like Justin Raines is on that record. K-Bass was featured on that record, and several other friends of mine are featured on that record as well. And I decided, you know what? Let me just put this stuff together and put it out. And that's what I did. And so again, you have Grooves and Ideas mixtape, volume one. It was from my if anybody again don't know, it's from my time with a hip hop artist, so to speak, gospel hip hop, I guess I should say. And I put out that record. So after that, I put out Life record. Many of you know me for the Life record, or some of you rather know me for the Life record that I put out, with songs like No Words on it, Prayer Melody, and so many other songs. Dramatic Bass featuring Anthony Crawford, and a lot of different great players that I featured on that record. And I think my most recent, I got several singles out there, but my most recent album, full album, was Dreams Work Reality Part 1, by my band, my first band record that I done out all these years of recording music. And we're actually getting ready soon to release Part 2. I've been working on this for at least 4 years, and we're still adding music to it. As a matter of fact, the drummer will be coming in this week, and we're finishing up some of the drums for the record. And I'm really, really excited about finally getting to finish this Part 2 of Dreams Work Reality. So if you're looking for that record, it's called the Jermaine Morgan Band, Dreams Work Reality. So just a little shameless plug, because you take for granted that people know your work, and a lot of times people didn't have a clue that you have music out. So you know now. So if you want to go and support that, again, it's available on all digital platforms, Apple Music, all that stuff. You can Spotify, YouTube stream. Of course, I would love for you to go and purchase the music, but if you don't want to do nothing but go on YouTube and listen to it and stream it, just create a playlist. You know what I'm saying? That helps me out when you do that. So I really appreciate you guys listening to the music, supporting the music, all of you guys that I know personally who've been around for a while and who literally support everything that I do. I really, really appreciate that. All right, so let me go back to a few of these comments before I play this next tune. Andrew said, wow, how privileged are we on Grooves and Motivation to receive a live performance from one of our bass idol. I don't know about the idol thing, man. Mr. Morgan loved it, sir, man. Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate that. Charles says, a wise man once told a discouraged player that people don't remember what you played, but will only remember how you made them feel. That was awesome, man. Thank you, Charles. I really, really appreciate that. Reminding me of those wise words. Now, I got it from a friend of mine, Nate Holloman. That's who I got that from. Absolutely. Team Ramrod, do you have any lessons on musicianship for worship teams? Not necessarily lessons. That's more in the line of what I do with the consulting and the coaching. I don't think I have a lot of specific lessons catered to that, just because it's such an interesting topic, and it's such a specific topic. So I would be more than happy to either do a coaching call or do a consulting situation with you or your band, concerning that subject, because that's something I'm very, very passionate about, that topic that you just mentioned. So I would love to do that in a consulting setting rather. So yeah, Ivan on bass. Hello, sir. Finding this live stream's helpful. God bless you, man, from South Africa here. Yes, sir. Good stuff. Which software do you prefer on sequencing when doing live music? As of recent years, Ableton seems to be the go-to. I'm not a whiz in Ableton, but it has seemed to be the go-to in terms of live music, in terms of response time and the versatility of what you can do overall in Ableton. That would get my vote in terms of doing a live show. I know in the past when cats would run live shows like on Pro Tools and Logic and that kind of thing, depending on your computer, sometimes you would get that cough, that little sputter where to stop. And that would be really, really embarrassing in the middle of a show. And I think Ableton, those creators of that, they figured it out to where it uses very little CPU and everything just flows smoothly. So I think Ableton, in my opinion, might be the way to go if you're thinking about getting into that. But if you don't have Ableton, you know, use what you have. There was a time where I was doing 2 tracks. You know, basically when I was playing just now, I was just playing back to a 2-track. You know, just basically an MP3 or a wave, whatever works for you. But yeah, Ableton, as far as a software, Ableton would probably be the one that I'd recommend. And no, they're not paying me to say this, but I would just being honest. I think Ableton would be the way to go if you're going to be doing live and you're like doing stems and that kind of thing. All right, so playing this next tune. This is another song that I wrote 2017. And the idea, if any of you guys are familiar with my music, you know I had a song called No Words, where it was like what was it? It's something like that. But anyway, that was such a popular song with people who followed my music, and I liked the song. I liked the vibe of it, and I wanted to do something similar to that, but have a different message. The first one was called No Words, but I wanted to do like a follow-up song to that had an actual message in it for this different part of life that I was in. So I came up with this idea of writing the song. It's kind of a similar vibe. I think it's in the same key. At least it starts in the same key, but the name of the song is called Daydreaming, and it was on my Dreams Work Reality album. It was one of my singles that I released, and the idea of this song is to encourage you to not give up on your dreams. So check this song out. Haven't played this in a while, so yeah, you might hear some flow. I'm just giving y'all these disclaimers just so y'all not shocked when you hear it. So that's all I'm doing. So all right, let's go. This is Daydreaming. It's available on the Dreams Work Reality album.
I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know. That dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. It's possible.
Got it.
That dream that you're holding, that it's possible.
Yeah. Y'all gotta forgive me. In my mind, I'm like, yep, you missed that, you missed that, you missed that, and you missed that. I'm sorry, it's hard to turn it off at times. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Charles says, well, Tiffany says, I knew it. I love this song. Glad that you love it. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, man, when people like your music. It really does. It really does. I appreciate that. I don't take it lightly. Charles says, yes. This is the jam right here. This is a favorite on the daily commute to work when we're in the office anyway. I got you. Appreciate that, man. I thank you for that, Charles. Angel says, God bless you, Brother Morgan. Happy to be here straight from Pennsylvania, man. Good to have you here. Anthony, good morning, man. Early for you over there. Oh, yeah, I'm up early for my favorite song. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Natalie, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be in the number one more time. Feeling the groove as always, brother. Thank you so much for that. Still sounds good. I appreciate the directors. I appreciate that. Washington Mafosa from Zimbabwe. Thank you for being here all the way around the world. I appreciate that. Tyrone says, awesome, man. You make playing the bass look so easy. I'm glad it comes across that way to you because in my mind, it's like, yeah, you better remember that next part that's coming. better remember that next part. And the crazy thing is I really been practicing a lot. It just goes to show you, it don't matter how much you practice. Sometimes you're gonna flub. It happens. And I've been doing a lot of detailed practicing, like working on specific things and trying to improve dexterity, overall harmony. I've been really dealing with that and understanding more in depth. So I've been putting a lot of time practicing. But in your mind, sometimes you can get in the way because you're thinking and trying to do too much instead of just playing the music. It's a constant battle. Anthony says, good morning, bro. Been a while. Good to have you here, man. Thanks, Team Ramrod. So again, the name of that last song was called Daydreaming. You can find it on the Dreams Work Reality album. I still have hard copies of that record. If any of you guys still use hard copies, I still have hard copies, as well as we had t-shirts, posters. It's like a whole package that you can get on my website of the whole Dreams Work Reality movement, so to speak. So you can visit JermaineMorgan.net and go check out my music or my shop. Go to my shop page and you'll find that along with the hard copy and all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that kind of thing. I know some people still like, the CDs. They still like to open it up and read the credits. My wife designed the artwork. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's the idea and the concept that I wanted. She knocked it out of the park. And, I just kind of give her what I'm thinking and she takes it and runs with it. And so it's just really low-key abstract type of artwork that's happening with some stuff on there. Good morning, Mama. It's that kind of real abstract thing that's happening with the artwork. So check it out. Even if you don't get it, go check out the artwork. Washington Maffosa says, "Hey Morgan, could you please talk a bit about feel and achieving a light pluck?" Feel. I did a good bit of lessons. I'm gonna just call you Washington. I did a good bit of lessons on feel, just talking about feel and understanding feel because it's something. Um, it's kind of hard to explain in a few minutes. I can, but it's I think I can't remember the lesson I did particularly on YouTube. There were a couple of lessons where I talked about it specifically. It might be what is feel or something like that I called it. That's on my YouTube channel that you can check out. And if you are part of the monthly membership lessons, I've dealt with it a lot in there. Most of my lessons are centered around feel because that's everything as far as a bass player. You got to have good feel. Even myself at times, if I'm kind of rushing or playing behind the groove too much, I'm paying attention to that, trying to make adjustments on the fly. Sometimes you land them all, sometimes you don't, but something that you want to always be aware of. Some people say that feel can't be taught. I'm not going to say that's 100% true because there are some things that I didn't. You might naturally have a better sense of timing. You might have a better sense of rhythm than most people, but I think it can be taught if a person gets in the right environment and gets around, because it has a lot to do, I think, with culture, has a lot to do with environment. And when I say culture, I mean not necessarily where you were born and raised and all that kind of stuff, because we know that sense of culture. But I'm talking about in terms of what you surround yourself with. Because over the years, my playing has shifted. Growing up, we grew up listening to gospel, quartet, and a little blues thrown in there every now and again. And so a lot of my feel was shaped around hearing that stuff. But the more I kind of submerged myself, so to speak, in these other genres and started really listening to them, I never lost that core value of my playing in terms of the blues and the soulful stuff. It's all still there, but I'm able to coexist in other worlds musically because I listened and started learning the culture and started understanding the culture and listening to context. I think it can be taught, but it's two things, and they might sound contradictory. But I feel like you have to listen with intention of learning it, and then you also have to let it become part of your subconscious. It's like when a good beat come on, you don't make your stuff start trying to find, okay, where's the one? You don't do that. It's like if it feels good, you normally just, your head just naturally nod. And so I think if we can kind of connect with that natural rhythm more, and I know some people have harder times than others with natural rhythm. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to have great feel, but I do believe that it can be learned. Again, my disclaimer, I'm not saying that everybody will learn and have great feel, but I do believe great feel can be learned. And so those are my 2 cents on the subject there. Anthony says, Daydreaming, that song has inspired me from the first time I've heard it. That's awesome, man. That was the whole point of the song. The speaker that you hear, the little insert of the clip, that's Les Brown. If any of you guys listen to any motivational speakers, Les Brown is one you want to hear. He has an amazing story. He's been around for a while, longer than I've been alive. So yeah, definitely check him out. Look up some of his stuff here on YouTube. If you've never heard of him, be sure to do that. Les Brown. So yeah. But yeah, that brings me to my topic that I wanted to get into today. I was kind of scratching my head on what to talk about, because sometimes, you can prepare something to share and your week goes a different way and it's like, I don't know if I want to talk about that. Or you can, like, even yesterday, as I've been working through all these different ideas, practicing, I had all these different things. It's like, man, I want to talk about this and maybe share this and share that. It's like, nah. I wanted to be super honest, super transparent, and I normally do that anyway, but even more so today. Charles says, learning to read music has definitely gotten me questioning my natural my natural timing. There's a lot of stuff in music that will have you questioning your timing and tons of other things. So I think, again, go back to that. Charles, when again you get around people that push you and that make you uncomfortable, there's, I think, and I'm not going to lose my subject, but there's something to be said about being in situations that make you uncomfortable. They force you to adjust, because if we're always in situations that are comfortable, you're not going to progress much. You're really not, because there's nothing pushing you. There's, even if it's something negative that's pushing you, you're going to move. Progress is movement. And a lot of things that happen with us as players is we become caught up in doing the mundane, the routine, the same thing, and we don't grow because nothing is pushing us. Sometimes you need that person to rub you the wrong way. There's a statement from the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. A lot of people like to use that statement, but one of the things about iron, that's going to be friction that's going to cause the sharpening. The friction, my dry hands, that's the friction that's going to cause that sharpening. So when those two things rub together, that's going to create a lot of friction. So if you're around a music director or somebody, a better musician, that's possibly rubbing you the wrong way, or somebody could even say something just telling you how to kind of refocus energy, so to speak. If somebody says something about your playing, man, you're not good, or you're not this, you're not that, and your timing sucks. Okay, great. You just gave me something to work on. I don't have to take everything that you say, but maybe there's something to what you're saying. So let me go check out my timing and see, is there something I need to work on concerning my timing? Could my timing stand improvement? You know what I'm saying? He don't have a great feel. Words get back to you. Somebody saying, yeah, he don't have a great feel. All right, let me go work on my feel. Let me go figure out what I can in terms of start working on my feel. So yeah, there's something to be said about being uncomfortable and having to question yourself, because it forces you to look at yourself honestly and start to make the adjustment. All right, so to the subject, you can weather any storm. So lately, I was telling my wife yesterday, I'm like, I feel like I've been off the last, I've been off like the last couple of months. I mentioned to you guys a few weeks ago, for you guys that were here, that I was on crutches because of some stuff that I'm dealing with. I've been on crutches for a while, so that, and going back and forth to doctor visits, that's kind of threw off my natural routine. And then not only that, recently we've had several deaths in our family. My mom's side of the family, we've had, a couple of deaths in the family. And so all of that stuff and traveling and going back and forth, all of it as a whole has kind of shifted and thrown me off a bit. And so my focus, I noticed I've been like, something that I'm normally pretty disciplined in, is like I find myself wasting more time lately. And just trying to get certain things done. I'm normally real goal oriented, and I like to get stuff done at a certain time. And lately I haven't been doing that as much. Not to say I haven't been productive. I've been very productive, but at the same time, measuring my potential against what I know I can do versus what I am doing. Because for the average person, I could still look like, man, given everything you got going on, you're doing a lot. Well, to me, I'm doing a lot. And thank you, Tyrone, for that, And let me be clear, I appreciate it. I'm not saying what I'm saying to get sympathy, because I don't like doing that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be honest and transparent. But I do, Tyrone, I do appreciate that. I really do. But I'm saying all of these different things, all these different variables have affected how I do what I do. And, if you're not careful, you'll find yourself, and I'm not by any means depressed, but I know I've been in situations similar to this before, because people who are like me, who are very self-driven, who are very goal-oriented and that kind of thing, you can find yourself kind of getting bummed out when you're not reaching certain goals that you were setting out to do. That kind of thing, it can, good morning, Zimbabwe. Jephthah, Jephthah, if I'm saying that correctly. Good morning to you. But you can find yourself getting bummed out if you're not handling things properly, or if you're not finishing your task or things that you want to do. You can sometimes be hard on yourself. I know perfectionists, especially musicians and creatives alike, when we have something that we're trying to do, you can find yourself like being really, really hard on yourself when you're not getting stuff done. And it can cause a spiral of self-doubt and cause you to go a whole nother way. But again, I just wanted to come on here and just address something that I feel like not only me deal. I'm not the only person that deals with it, but I know a lot of people deal with things. It's not so much that you don't want to get better. It's not so much that you don't have every intention to practice, but life doesn't care about your goals. Let me just say that. Life has no concern about, what you were trying to do or what you were hoping to accomplish. Life is going to continue to happen. People are going to pass, you know, stuff is going to happen. The older you get, you're going to have to deal. Hopefully you won't deal with health complications, but it's just something that comes with the territory of getting older. Some things happen and you have to address them. And so these things can come and they shift your focus. They take your attention. It's like they demand, no, you're going to focus on this. Like, I don't want to be on crutches. I don't want to have to take, medicine right now. But it's like, what do? You're in these situations. And not to say for my faith walkers here, not to say that you don't have faith or you don't continue to believe and operate in faith, but life is going to happen. It's going to present you with challenges and you're going to have to deal with them. And so I call these challenges storms. The old folks say you're either in a storm, you're coming out of a storm, or you're getting ready to go into a storm. So these storms of life are going to come. They're going to come. They're going to happen. But I'm convinced that we've been built in such a way by our Creator that we can weather any of these storms that have been handed to us, any of these things that have been given to us. So if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're feeling kind of overwhelmed with life in general, it's like, man, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. I don't know how much more of this that how much more of this I can actually take. I was taken back. Sunday was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy late Father's Day to all the fathers that are watching, by the way. But on Sunday, I was just overwhelmed with gratitude, I looked at last year, this time last year and even earlier last year, just some things personally that I was going through as a father, as a husband, as a man, and that I was dealing with and feeling completely overwhelmed at that time. And I was, taken back to that place. And I was just overwhelmed. I was just so grateful to now be here, because in the problem, you don't see the other side. You can't see the other side of the problem. That's why it's so important not to make a permanent decision in a temporary place. It's so important not to do that, because you don't see the other side of that thing. It can be terrible, meaning the circumstance, the conditions that you're finding yourself in could be horrible. And you're like, man, I'm good on all this. Some of y'all, I know y'all was ready to take the bass and chunk it. I'm talking about break it into 15 pieces. But as you stick it out, or as you stuck it out, depending on where you are in this part, as you stuck it out, you started to realize that, you know what? This ain't so bad. And then when you look back in hindsight, they say hindsight is always 20/20. Looking back over these things, you're able to realize, you know what? I needed that. I didn't want it. It sucked. I'm talking about bad. It was terrible. But looking back, I needed that, because that did something for my endurance. That did something for my perseverance. You only get stronger by lifting more weights and weight training and doing things that build up those muscles. Let me say it that way. You only get stronger by building up more muscle. You build muscle through resistance. So if there is no resistance and everything is always peachy cream, what muscles are you building? What endurance are you building? What perseverance are you building? One of my favorite scriptures talks about in James, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations or trials or troubles or whatever you want to call them, knowing that the trying of your faith produces perseverance, patience, all these different things. Like you going through this thing that you're going through, this trouble that is being presented to you, it's not doing anything but making you better. If you're in this place and you're playing where you feel like, man, I keep hitting a brick wall, I keep hitting it, you keep kicking at that thing, or get you a chisel, whatever analogy you want to use, you have to keep chiseling away at it, because what it does, it builds endurance. And the more you do it, the more you realize you can do it. As long as you don't quit, as long as you persevere and you go through it, you take the blows, however they come at you, you take them. and you keep pushing. You keep pushing through it because you were built to handle this. There's another verse that talks about you won't be tempted beyond what you can handle. What beyond? I'm paraphrasing, but it won't be anything that comes on you beyond something that you can stand. And you're looking at other people's lives, and that's a bad thing. I call it the comparison syndrome. When you look at other people's lives and you're like, man, this person over here doing this, they don't seem like they don't go through nothing. You don't know what these people are going through. You don't know what anybody else's personal life look like. But you've been given a set of problems. Well, let's say it this way. You've been given a set of opportunities disguised as problems in order to help you to grow your endurance and to grow your perseverance, because you need that for the next place in life that you have to go. It's necessary. As a musician, it's necessary. When we have to sit for hours and work on scales or whatever it is that we're working on as a musician, and we don't like it, but it's necessary for the next place that we want to go. Because as I develop my vocabulary, I understand now, oh, I can use this. Oh, I can take, when I was working on my timing and all this stuff, now I see where it's relevant. At first, when I was having to start working on it, I didn't want to do that. It seemed like it was too time consuming. I just want to get to the good stuff. Well, in order to get to the good stuff, you got to go through the bad stuff. You got to go through the hours of practice. You have to go through the embarrassment of falling flat on your face. So now you know what to do, or now you know how to respond to that situation. I had to deal with the embarrassment of being out front as a player. In order to be an artist, you must be out front. I had stage fright, like everything. I could not stand being in front of people. You might be shocked by that now, but I could not stand being in front of people because I didn't like having all the attention on me. But for what was inside of me, it was necessary that I got comfortable being in front of people. It was so funny. God has a funny way of doing stuff. He knows I was very, very intimidated when I got the mega church gig. I was very intimidated. I felt like the weakest link on the chain. So guess how God worked that thing with me? He decided to put me front and center in front of the camera so the whole world can see me every week. I had to deal with that for years until we changed the seating situation. I sat literally right behind the pastor in terms of the broadcast. Anytime you saw that broadcast, whether it was on BET, the Word Network, or any of that stuff, I was front and center every week. And I was like, and I had to go back and watch myself and watch my facial expressions. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is just torture right here. Little did I know at that time, he was preparing me to be out front. He's like, no, you got to get used to being in front of a camera. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. You have to get used to people seeing you. That light that you keep trying to put a shade over or put a blanket or hide, how is anybody else going to see that light if you don't let it shine? You have to get comfortable. There's a part of your purpose, rather, that requires you to be uncomfortable in order for that thing to come forth. It's a part of your purpose. You watching me today is going to require you to get uncomfortable. So that very thing that you've been avoiding, you have a lot of purpose. And I'm telling you this from experience. That very thing that you've been avoiding, you have a lot of purpose, a lot of destiny attached to that thing. I'll say this, and we're in all transparency this morning. This whole teaching thing, I was not trying to do this at all. Here's the reason why. I didn't feel like I knew enough theory. I know I didn't know enough theory. Even though I took music theory in college, in community college, I took music theory. I passed the class and I got the grade to move on. But I did not know what I was doing. I did not understand it. I could play, but I didn't understand what I was playing. So I didn't understand music theory. So fast forward, Bass Players United. I've been partnered with Bass Players United for a long time, probably about 10 years now. They came to me and asked me to do a video. I think it was on the modes or something like that. And I think the video is still up. So you hear me saying stuff wrong in there. So I did this video just to do my respectful thing to them because, we were partnered or whatever. I was like, all right, I'll do this video. I put this video up. And of course I got tore up. in the comments because some of the things that I said in the video was wrong. And I didn't know at the time that I missed some things. I wasn't aware of certain things that I missed. Playing wise, I knew what I was talking about. But when it came to trying to explain it, I didn't fully know how. I was new to that part of what he had asked me to do. And I wasn't fully sure of how to explain it completely, the right theoretical way. As far as the ideas of what I was showing, people got the ideas, but you always have those knuckleheads that want to tear you up in the comments because you're not dotting every I and crossing every T. So because of that, I became really, really discouraged. This was like my first teaching video. I became really discouraged, and I said, you know what? Y'all can have it. I don't want to teach nothing. If that's how y'all gotta act. Me and my friend got this thing. You ain't never gotta worry about me putting up another video lesson. So that's literally my intro to YouTube lessons in terms of doing lessons. And I was very, very intimidated. Now, mind you, I'm on the back end. I'm doing one-on-one lessons with people, helping them to grow in their playing and all this kind of stuff. But when I put it out on social media, it's like, oh man, I got tore up. I put it on YouTube, man. They ate me alive, and so I was, intimidated to say the least. But I dealt with that, and I came back, and I started doing other little lessons, and I started teaching it my way. I started teaching the way that I understood, the way that it made sense to me, because I started to realize there's a group of people out here who are just like me, who don't understand. They get it, but they don't get it. And so I decided at that time, you know what, I'm going to make life a lot easier for these people who are like me, who want to know the theory, but they're not necessarily trying to go and play within the orchestra or anything, like not right away anyway. I am saying they won't do it, but they want to just have a better understanding of how to play this instrument. They're not trying to, do a recital or anything like that. They just want to be able to play. And so I started teaching from that standpoint. And as I did that, let me tell you this, as I did that, God began to start making me understand theory better. And things that I learned from some of my instructors, like Dr. Cass Patrick, it started clicking. I started getting it. As I started teaching and sharing, it started making sense to me. So most of the lessons that you guys, and this is complete 100% transparency right now, most of the lessons that you've seen me put out here on YouTube, I was learning this stuff too. And so the way I learn, I started learning even more about the way that I learn. I learn more when I share information. It might be a revelation for you. I learn more when I share information. So the more I share, the more I personally learn. So as helpful as it is to you, it's a selfish gain for me. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but I get something out of the lessons that I'm sharing as well, because it's forcing me to look for more material. It's forcing me to figure out what I'm doing. It's forcing me. So over the years, I've done probably more learning because of the lessons that I've done. I've done more learning. So that thing that you were uncomfortable and as a result of, I built almost a whole empire off of doing these lessons, and was able to shift the trajectory of my career by going after something that I was afraid of, because I was afraid of how people was going to respond. I was afraid of getting tore up in the comments every time I put out something and I said something wrong, or I didn't pronounce a certain word. There's a video that they still get me about now, how I say the word ask. This axe, I'm from the country. I ain't worried about all that. But people, major in the minors. So sometimes you can allow the pettiness of people to push you away from your purpose and potential. I know those are a lot of P's, but you can allow that to happen at times, and you have to be careful that you don't do that. Someone's opinion of you don't have to become your own personal opinion. That's just their opinion. It's a quote I got from Les Brown. Couldn't be the most truest thing I've heard, man. It's like, somebody else's opinion of you. Because what you start to see when you step back, because this might be petty of me, and I've said this before, but this is how I started better dealing with people online that had, this is how I started dealing with people online. I found a pattern. When I would see people critique me or they're tearing me up in the comment section about something that I did, something, the way my video sounded, whatever. You might be one of those people that do that to people. If you are, stop doing that. Stop it. Stop doing that to people. We hate that. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not coming with constructive criticism, stop criticizing people. So the way I started dealing with that, I would look, and it never fails. Most of the time, the people don't have a picture, and you click on their profile, no followers, no video, no content, but these are always the experts. They have all of the information. They know how to make your life and your videos and everything else you got going on better. But you look for results from them, and there are no results. So if I am a giraffe, I got this alliteration, I think, from Bishop Jakes, and I loved it. If I am a giraffe, why would I listen to the perspective of a turtle telling me how to look from where I am? If I am a giraffe, why would I be listening to the perspective of a turtle? Everything he sees is at eye level. Even if he looks up, he don't have my vantage point. No matter what he does, he'll never have my vantage point if I am a giraffe. So my word to you, why are you listening to the perspective of turtles if you are a giraffe? Don't let people's negative perspectives or that the P's that I said, just, people being petty, don't let that pull you away from your purpose. The pettiness of people, don't allow that to pull you away from your purpose. If you don't get anything else out of this, don't let people do that, because that's going to keep happening. It comes with I'm learning, it comes with the territory. Everybody, they says, opinions are like behinds. Everybody got one and they stink. Sorry, mama. But it was a good illustration. That's what it is. It's their opinions. It's their opinions. And you can't allow other people's opinions to affect you. Because how can you possibly deal with other people's opinion and then try to get through other stuff? You think if I stopped and read every negative comment, and like given the last few months that I've been dealing with, I've lost 2 aunts within the last 2 months. And you think if I lower my head down as a giraffe and start listening to these turtles talking, what will that do for my belief, my stuff, the things that I'm feeding myself, my thought process? What will that do if I stop and listen to every turtle that has something to say to me? The giraffes eat high up. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if they keep their heads down too long, they faint, they fall out because of something about the blood circulation, how the blood circulation goes to their neck. So if they keep their head down too long, they'll fall out. So what does that say about you if you're a giraffe? If you keep your head down too long listening to the opinions of turtles, you're going to fall. You're going to faint. You got too much to deal with. That's way above the surface. Your potential, your passion, the thing that you've been placed on the earth to do, you don't have time to listen to the opinion of people who can't see from your perspective, who can't, not necessarily your perspective, but who can't see from your vantage point. So if I want some good information, some good wisdom, maybe I'll find another giraffe, somebody that's a little taller, who's been around a little longer, somebody who's already kind of walked in my shoes. And maybe I'll take that opinion, because as a turtle, there's nothing you can give me that's going to help me be a better giraffe. So watch, be mindful of the information that you're taking in this journey. Be mindful of that. So let me read a few of these comments before I get too far gone. So I'm going through them and see what I didn't see. Tyrone, absolutely, man. Anthony, absolutely. Charles says, come on, alliteration. Emmanuel says, I am always reminded that Jesus never gave room to pettiness. No, it's like, I could, so many different examples that I could use, but it's like, you think of it in the sense of it's this parable of the ones, there was people who came in and they had worked all day for a certain pay that they agreed to, and then there's ones who came in later. And then at the end of the day, everybody got, I'm paraphrasing, making it even shorter. Everybody got the same pay. And the ones who got, they had been there all day, they was upset at the fact that, all right, these dudes just walked in like the last minute and they got the same pay that I get. And I've been here working all day. And it's like, well, what is it to you what I pay him? Didn't you agree to do this job for this amount of money? Yeah. So what is it to you what I do for somebody else? It's none of your business. Like, if I decide to give him more and I decided that I was going to pay him more, to you it might seem unfair, but that's your opinion. But me, as the person who's hiring, this is what I decided to do. And if I kept my word to you to do what I said I was going to do to you and pay you the amount that we agreed to, what's it to you? So sometimes you can major in the minors. You can find yourself getting upset about things that have absolutely nothing to do with you. Somebody's opinion on your video about what you should be teaching is their opinion. Like, I have that a lot where people come on my videos telling me stuff that I should have been doing. Now, there are times that I will listen to my audience because I do care about putting out the content. But if I see a pattern to where I have a lot of people, I haven't never seen you comment on any other videos. You don't support anything else that I do. I don't see anything else coming from you. And so you're randomly showing up on my video, making suggestions, and you haven't deposited anything. It's going to be hard for me to listen to you because I don't know you. And furthermore, I'm more concerned about what it is I'm trying to create, what it is I'm trying to give to people. And you're here just being a taker. If you're a taker, you're probably not going to weigh as much as the person whose name I see all the time. Now, if it's somebody like a Tyrone or Steven or somebody like that I see all the time, you ask me about doing a certain type of video, of course, I'm going to try to accommodate you guys and try to give you that thing because we have something there. There's a trade-off. I'm providing value to you, and you're in exchange, you're responding. You're supporting, you're doing something that shows me that you're engaged with the content I'm doing. Now, you just showed up one time, and I've done it. I've created videos based on comments that random people, and then you would never see them. They wouldn't even comment and say thank you. And I was like, you know what? I'm dealing with these turtles, so I'm gonna get my head up. All right. So let's see here. Wow, I wanted to learn bass, but this is way better. Fast philosophy. I'm glad that you're getting something out of this. Wow, don't listen to the turtles. Absolutely not. Washington says, man, this is golden stuff. Many bassists fail to enjoy what they do because of voices most of the time. You're absolutely right. You can let people's opinion rob you of any enjoyment or pleasure that you would have out of doing what you do because of what somebody else says. You're always looking for, affirmation from somebody else to guarantee that you did what you did good. One of the things I've learned I can be an extreme loner. I know how to interact with people and coexist with people, but if you're not careful, I can be by myself and be completely cool. So oftentimes I'll get in here, and over the years, I've learned how to appreciate my own music that I create. And it's a blissful thing. If you create music and you can kind of get into that, good morning, Mac. Good morning to you. So if you can start learning to appreciate what you do and celebrate what you do, there's times in here I'm creating music. Ain't nobody in this terrible English and grammar. Ain't nobody in the studio but me. And I'm having the time of my life listening to and enjoying something that I just created. Even God in the beginning, when he created, everything, he looked at it after doing what he did at the end of the day. That's good. He even celebrated his own work. So what better example do you need? At the end of everything he created, he said it was good. So I'm like, stop being so down on your own work. Yeah, everything can stand a little improvement. He had to redo man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He had to send Jesus. So even God in his perfection, we messed it up. It wasn't him, but all in all, he created it. And there was some imperfections in it afterwards, after man did what he did. So we ain't trying to get on the whole theology, but you get my point. The fact that he celebrated his work in spite of, he celebrated his work. And we should learn how to celebrate our work. When you do something, I don't care if it's music related, because I know I got more people than just musicians watching these lives. Whatever it is that you do, you know you do it well. You know you put your heart into it. You work as if you're doing it unto God. You give it your all. Celebrate what you did. I'm telling you, ain't nothing like that feeling to sit here and listen to something that you created, something like music that I create. It comes out of my head, or I hear a melody or something. I hear a groove, and I put it all together, and I'm listening to everything playing back, and it's like, man, this is crazy. I don't know if nobody else gonna like it, but I like it. You sit in here and play and jam for hours, or whatever the case may be, or it's a piece of work that I've produced for an artist, and being able to hear their idea come together, and then that excitement that they have about their song coming together, because it started as this small thing, and you are able to bring this idea into reality for them. It's nothing like that feeling. Celebrating what you do, not always beating yourself down about the mistakes you make and that kind of thing, because that can create storms. I heard a saying the other day, it's like people create storms for themselves, and then they fuss about the storms when they're going through them. It's like, you got to be careful that you and your mouth are not creating some of the storms that you're going through, because a lot of it is not external, it's your internal view of yourself that sometimes create the problem for you. And you got to be aware of what you're doing, what you're doing. You're causing the problem. Call a spade a spade. You're causing the problem at times. So you have to make sure you're monitoring what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking about, so that you can get to the point where you can weather any storm. And you can get to the point where you can persevere, because you're not listening to the opinions of others that pull you down, or the negative opinion or perception of yourself that pulls you down. Sometimes you need to tell you to shut up. Just being honest. You talking too much to you. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing that I do, and I'm going to come back to these comments, but that's one thing that I do. I've talked about this over and over and over again, but I've been doing this maybe 6 or 7 years now, if not longer, in terms of my mornings, getting control of my mornings, being mindful what I'm listening to, being mindful of what I'm taking into my system early in the morning, because you're bombarded with negative information all day long. So if you're not counteracting, if you're not playing, some type of offense or whatever to this information that's coming at you, or playing defense or whatever to this information that's coming at you, you're putting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for failure, because it's like most of us on average, I'll say positive people, or people who try to have a decent mindset. Let's be honest. Maybe you get up in the morning, you do 30 minutes of something positive. You listen to a little motivational video that's about 15 minutes long, and that's it. You got the rest of the 23 point however many hours to deal with everything and everybody else all day long. Now, what's the conversation you're having with yourself throughout that day? What's the type of stuff you're saying to you? Are you encouraging yourself throughout the day? Matter of fact, who else is speaking into you throughout that day? Chances are probably nobody. Who else is giving you encouraging words throughout the entire day? Probably nobody. Let's be honest, probably nobody. So you got that little 15 minutes of encouragement. If you prayed, all right, you're an overachiever. You got 2 hours. You got a good workout in. You prayed. You read a book. You listened to a positive video or a podcast or something like that, and you really, really got your mind going. That gives you a good grip on the day. It really does. It really helps you to better persevere, better endure whatever's going to come to you that day. But stuff going to still come. Life going to still happen. Them storms coming. You're going to see a cloud. It might not happen today, but it's coming. Oh, just you. Just you wait. I'm not wishing it on you. I'm just telling you this is what it is. There's nothing we can really do about it. Only thing we can do is learn how to weather these storms. How to weather these storms. How do we protect our belongings when we know a storm is coming? If it's a barbecue grill and it's sitting outside in the yard, what are we going to do? We're going to probably try to cover it up, right? Some of y'all got your cars or whatever. It's like, if you have a garage, you try to pull that joker in there. You're not going to sit there and leave your car uncovered and you know a hailstorm is coming. You're going to try to pull it in the garage or you see some sign of some type of bad weather, the kids got toys or something like that outside, a good parent is gonna do their best to make sure that their stuff is protected. The same thing, a good person is gonna make sure that if there's something that can be harmed, I'm doing the necessary precautions to make sure that that is protected. So if life is gonna constantly present me with storms, what am I doing to make sure that I'm protecting myself, my psyche, my heart, my mindset? What am I doing to protect that so that I can persevere when these storms come? So if I'm not doing anything to protect that, I'm vulnerable. And over time, those storms are going to do what? It's going to destroy it. It's kind of like the man that built his house on sand. You know what I'm saying? It's like the wind and the rain gonna come and beat up on the house. If you don't build on a solid foundation, when that storm comes, it's gonna take you out. That's just plain and simple. It's gonna take you out. Let me go back through some of these comments here. All right, so Christopher Hall, good morning to you. He says, you are preaching. We need to pass the offering plate. Good morning, and continue with a good word. Much of what you say can be used outside of music. Be blessed. We all need to celebrate. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, man. Angel says, I've been a victim of other musicians who were excellent in their gift. I'm sorry. Let me read that again because I lost my place. I was thinking about something. I've been a victim of other musicians who were excellent in their gift. I didn't play stuff like they did. Today, I do not see them where they say they should be. All right, so you say you don't see them where they say they should be. I'm going to make sure I understand what you're saying correctly. I'm going to read it one more time because I messed it up. I've been a victim of other musicians who were excellent in their gift, just because I didn't play the stuff like they did. Today, though, I do not see them where they say they should be. Yeah, because you kept pushing, you kept persevering, and now you probably exceeded past a lot of them, and you're really seeing exposed stuff. I found, man, a lot of people will hate on you because they see your potential and you can't even see it. They see how good you have the potential to be, and they try to discourage you. And some people, that's all they got. All they got is the little local or whatever thing that they've built their name or their De La fan club. That's all they got. And they want to hang on to that. So they got to find something about you to tear you down so they can try to guarantee that you never go past them. Yeah, that's listening to turtles. So if you find a person like that, first off, if you're better than me and you're bashing me, yeah, you're definitely a turtle. No matter how good you can play. But if you're bashing me, the thing about it, we're not given these platforms. And I learned this a long time ago. When I started doing Say It With Your Strings, one of the things that I was happy about with that was that the little platform, I didn't have a huge platform, but the little platform that God gave me, I was able to grab somebody else by the hand and pull them up. And so there are other players who were good that people hadn't heard of. And I had a little bit more notoriety than they did. And by that contest, I was able to pull these people up on a platform so other folks could see how good they were. And so if you can't use your platform to lift someone up, why do you have it? So I say that to you players who are hard on other players. The premise of a lot of my courses that I've created came from my frustration with other musicians and older musicians who should be leaders, but they're not. I did congregational songs course. If you guys don't know about that course, it's on my website. What I did in that course is I created these, C-Dub created these tracks, and I played on the tracks that C-Dub created. Like all 8 of those songs C-Dub created, he produced that. And he allowed me to use that for the course because these are songs that we grew up doing in churches. Some of these songs that most of us who grew up in the church, we heard a lot of these songs, traditional songs. But as we've gotten more into the praise and worship and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people aren't hearing it. It's like if you're new to church, if you've been around like maybe the last 10, 20 years, some of these songs you've never heard before because the praise and worship era kind of took over. So they didn't do devotion or they didn't do, glory, glory, Hallelujah. They didn't do that anymore. So if you didn't grow up in a church that didn't do that, you don't know what those songs are. And what I would see on social media a lot was a lot of the older musicians that people look up to talking about the younger musicians because they don't know these songs and just bashing them. And in my mind, I'm like, how would they know them? Who's going to teach it to them? They're not singing this stuff at church. Most of these people are playing at modern churches that don't do this music. So if they randomly end up at your service filling in and y'all break out on this song, they never heard it before. People don't know what they don't know. That was something that I ran into early on as a professional musician. As I would get called in to play certain things, there was a lot of music that I didn't know. I just didn't know it. It wasn't that I was being lazy and I didn't learn it and you should have learned this. It's like, first off, you don't know my church culture. Yeah, I've been in church all my life, but we didn't learn these songs. We didn't sing this. We didn't learn it the way that you guys did it. So you don't know what you don't know. So rather than being part of the problem, I became part of the solution. I said, you know what? While all of y'all are sitting here online complaining about all these young cats or old cats who don't know this music, while y'all doing that, I'm going to be over here creating a course to show them how to play it. That's the premise of the stuff that I started creating on my website. Because everybody's learning scales. Everybody's learning, all of the theory. But some folks need to get through the service on Sunday. I don't need to know how to play a major pentatonic right now. I just need to get through this song. So I started creating stuff that address the issues that people were having. Because if you just listen to the negative comments of people who are trying to pull you down, again, them turtles talking, it's like, that's all you got to do. Because this young person, and let me tell you really the root of it. I know I'm off on a tangent this morning, but the real root of that thing is these cats are getting older and they are seeing these young guys come up who are really, really good, like these little 8, 9-year-old players who are really, really good at a young age because they have access. Here's the reason, not because the older generations and my generation didn't really practice. No, the younger generation and now, because people like myself and others, they have access to information. They have access to learn all this stuff. And so now they're jumping leaps and bounds above people before. So where you had to work for 20 hours to just figure out the intro to a song, somebody just did a tutorial on YouTube and broke the whole thing down. So that cut their learning time in half. It made the world easier for them. So instead of bashing them, use the tools that they got available and help them with your wisdom. If you are an older musician, you have something to pour out to these young cats. Because one of the things I'm learning, a lot of these guys don't know about staying power and integrity and that kind of thing. And those are lessons that you can impart. If you would humble yourself, you might find something that you can learn from these young cats. And there's something that you can pour into them where now they won't have this thing that, all right, I'm going to come for him. I'm going to come for his gig. But they have this thing that's now a respect for you because you made yourself available as a mentor to them. There are a lot of mentors that I have to this day that don't play as well as me. I'm aware of it. They don't play as well as me, but I give them the respect as a mentor because of the deposit that they made into me when I couldn't play as well as I do now. And so I respect these people with the highest level of respect because of what they poured into me. I don't walk over them because I done learned a little bit more now. I done got somewhere in my career. I done landed a few gigs. A few people know my name. So now you're not worthy of any honor and any respect. That's integrity. You have an integrity and a character problem when you do that. But what is not dealt with is passed on. So if you see a whole bunch of older cats that have bad attitudes and it's passing on the negative mentality of bashing people and nobody is breaking that cycle, then it's going to be perpetuated. It's going to be passed on. Now you're going to have a whole bunch of young people who have that same mentality. And you say, man, these kids are out of control. No. Let's check it. Where did it start? So sorry about that. But yeah, that's something obviously that's near and dear to my heart. Mentorship is very important. If you are a person, you don't have to be old or you don't have to be ancient or whatever. You don't have to be in your 30s, 40s, 50s. You don't have to be whatever age you are. I don't know what we consider old anymore. But if you have something of value, stop sitting on it. If you have something to share, there are people who want to hear what you have to say. Not everybody is cynical. Not everybody is blowing you off. There are some people who are probably genuinely coming to you for stuff, and you say stuff like, oh man, I ain't got nothing. Oh man, I don't know nothing. You're missing your opportunity to share something. You probably ran into somebody yesterday and they came to you because they look up to you and you blew them off because you didn't have time, or because you thought they were cocky, or you thought they were this, you thought they were that. And so in that moment that you had to pour into them, you didn't do it because you were so busy being caught up in your own feelings or your own thoughts. There's something I think that could be transferred down if we get out of ourselves. We get out of this selfish mentality, this protect me mentality, and start thinking outside and seeing what value can I add to others. And when you do that, you start unlocking like a Pandora's box of stuff that you have available that you didn't even know that was there. It's like, wow, I didn't even know I was, I didn't even know I had this. Yeah, because you don't share it. The more you give, the more he gives to you. It's like sow sparingly and you also reap sparingly. So when you hold back your seed and you don't plant that seed of wisdom, that seed of knowledge, whatever that seed is that you have, when you hold it back and you don't plant it, you don't get more. You don't get more corn if you have a bag of corn and you never put those seeds in the ground. You're not going to get more corn. You're going to have that little thing of corn that you have, and if you eat that, it's going to be gone. But if you take a seed of what you have, plant it into somebody else, nurture that. You ain't even got to do the watering. Just plant the seed. Maybe somebody else will come and water. Just plant a seed. And if you continue doing that enough, there's a saying, I think it's by Jim Rohn. He said, if you make sure that enough people get what they want, God will see to it to make sure you get what you need. Or make sure, not want, I'm sorry. If you see to it that enough people get what they need, then God will see to it that you get what you need. Given it shall be given. Come on. All right. Know your sound. Jermaine, your content has molded me to be a better vessel to be used on the instrument and off. Press in your purpose. Absolutely. I agree, Stephen. Jermaine, you said it twice. All right, posted twice. Sorry. Davis says, deep. I must be my number one fan. Even God had to acknowledge his work. Come on here. He had to acknowledge it. Team Ramrod says 2 Timothy 1:13. What you heard from me, keep as the pattern of sound teaching with faith and love in Christ Jesus. There you go. Ivan says, amen. Tiffany says, I have started to look at rain differently. I literally pray for it. How can we grow without it? To grow, we need sunshine and rain. Yeah, yeah, you do. When Noah in the Bible saw rain, I'm sure he was happy. He had proof that he didn't build that huge ark for no reason. That in itself is a whole thing. That in itself, most people complain about the rain, but for some people, rain is proof that what I'm doing matters. The fact that there is what other people perceive as a problem is showing that I'm needed. I heard Eric Thomas, this motivational speaker, said something. He said, man, 2008, I think, is when he started to blow up because, we had the housing market crash and we went through this recession in 2008 and he blew up because it was in that moment as a motivational speaker, people needed to be motivated. So what was perceived as a storm for most turned out to be a blessing for him. Even now, we're going through this pandemic and you see everybody as a speaker now. I was doing groups of motivation, I think, before the pandemic, but everybody's a speaker now because not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but there is a need for it. People were depressed. You know what I'm saying? Folks started, turning to God who ain't never turned to God before. All of a sudden they got time for him now because they were scared. No shame or no bashing. This is the no judgment zone. But what I'm saying is that storm created opportunity for somebody else. So while you're crying about a storm, somebody else is thanking God for it because it created an opportunity for them. So you have to be really careful to your point, Tiffany. People have to be really careful about how you perceive storms of life. Because if, again, being able to weather that storm might set you in a better place than you were before you went into it. Most of the time, that's what they're designed to do. Not necessarily Mother Nature, but you know what I'm saying, the storms of life that we go through, that's what they're designed to do, to help us, to build us, to refine us so that we bring forth the best part of ourselves. Tyrone says, great course. I appreciate that, man. You did support the course, several courses, man. I appreciate that. Team Ramar said, I thank God for my worship mentor because he stretches me to play better. Yes, sir. K-Stick says, hello, almost missed the session. Thank God I didn't miss it. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you could partake, if you will. Tiffany says, great word. I needed to hear that. Sylvan says, this is good stuff, sir. The information you're giving keeps the mind positive, helps us to remain humble. As we know, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. God bless you, man. God bless you too. Thank you so much. Charles says, we need an organ on this morning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got some good old shout music going. But yeah, we I just wanted to share that with you guys this morning. I know, like I said, the last couple of months, I've been okay. I haven't been depressed or down or anything like that. But it's definitely, you know, it will work on your mind if you allow it to. And, you know, just seeing my family hurting didn't feel good. I went home this past weekend for a service for my aunt. And, you know, seeing people that you love hurt, that doesn't feel good. But again, all of these things are necessary for whatever reason. We don't understand it. But if you find yourself like me in that situation, just know that I'm going to go scripture on this one. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So what you're going through, even if you're going through depression, I don't want to take that lightly. I know we have all people from all walks that are watching this. What you're going through right now is not going to last. The good thing that we have to be confident about in this life is that everything changes. Everything changes. Thank you for that, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for that. Everything changes. We have to be confident in that. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Everything must change. So that means if you're doing well, it's going to change. Not completely, meaning there are seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. They happen over and over every year. And I'm starting to learn this in my journey, in my walk in this life as a father, as a husband, as a business owner, as all of these things. I'm starting to learn that there are seasons. It's not just the weather. Life has seasons. You're going to go financially, you're going to go through a winter, you're going to go through a summer, spring, and a fall. And how you manage these seasons, Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker, he does great teaching on this. How you manage these seasons, your winter, your spring, your summer, and your fall, it determines how you go through these seasons, because management is everything. And everything is going to change. So if you find yourself in a depressed place because stuff ain't working out, maybe you're out of a job right now. I know so many friends of mine are dealing with divorce, dealing with their families being torn apart right now. Even that, it's a season. And how you manage, how you handle this season will determine how you go into the next season. So these things come up. They're coming up. I don't wish these things on anybody, but they happen. I didn't wish this on my family, but it happened. And so I can either just kick and scream and knock holes in the wall and be all upset about what happened, or I can just accept it and grow. That don't mean I don't get sad. That don't mean I don't mourn. That don't mean I'm not hurt from certain things that happen, but I can process these things different way, and I can use that pain and turn it into purpose. I can use that pain. I can recycle. So somebody type that in the comments. Recycle your pain. Recycle it. Now, I don't mean reuse your pain, or I'm not reuse it in the negative sense, but reuse it in the positive sense. When we take something and we recycle it, we use that thing and we figure out another kind of way that we can use that material, like with plastics. this big whole recycling thing that was all the rave back in the 90s. We started reusing this plastic, start repurposing. You recycle cans and they create something else out of it. So you find different uses for this stuff. This pain that you have, how can I turn this into something else? How can I use this? I've found oftentimes when I share my story of my pain that I went through, somebody else who's dealing with something similar is encouraged. Now, when I was going through that, I didn't know that. I didn't know that this person down the road is going to be able to use this pain. All I knew, I was in pain and it hurt. Somebody cut it off. You know what I'm saying? But later, as I begin to share, there's a verse that says, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Other people are helped by you telling your story. People are helped by knowing what you went through. I don't tell about me being on these crutches and me, losing family members so I can get something. No, I tell you this in the sense of letting you know that all of us are going through. All of us are dealing with something. All of us are fighting through something. All of us are sometimes pulling ourselves out of the bed in the morning, in seasons, depending on what season you're in. Some seasons you might jump up out the bed and run a mile. Don't think nothing else about it. Some days you might got to peel yourself up out of the bed because of the weight of what you're carrying is so heavy. So don't allow the weight of that situation to weigh you down to the point where you abort purpose and position of where you're supposed to be. Allow it to move you forward. Allow it to move you forward, right? Allow it to move you forward. So anyway, just wanted to share these thoughts. I've been on here for a while. I've been talking for a while, but hopefully it's been good. Hopefully it's something you can use moving forward in your journeys. That's what I'm hoping, that this has been very, very, me being transparent has been very helpful to somebody. It's my goal to motivate, encourage, and inspire. If you're new to this channel, I'm Jermaine Morgan. You're watching Grooves and Motivation Live. And I'm here every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know more about me, you can visit JermaineMorgan.net. If you're not subscribed to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on my bell notifications. I appreciate the likes for this video already. That really, really helps me. I really appreciate all of this, man. I appreciate you guys that interact with me in the chat. It's good to talk to you all on Tuesday morning, to hear your hearts, hear what you are, what you have going on. And absolutely. Andrew says, Jermaine, this meal is so good. I'm licking my 10 fingers. God bless you and your work. I'm inspired every week. I'm happy I met you through this medium. It's truly a blessing and a true privilege, man. It's my honor to be able to share. And just to think, it was an idea that I almost didn't do. You know what I'm saying? It was another one of these things, case in point, another one of these things that I had the idea, but I didn't know how it was going to work out. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know with the analytics, because YouTube right now, these analytics, they're destroying us creators with their analytics. And so I just got to the point, and I'll just say this honestly with you guys, because I've heard that doing these long lives like this destroy your analytics, which means less people see your videos. They push out your videos to less and less people, because I guess the timing of them and the engagement, because my numbers in these lives aren't necessarily really, really high. But just so you know, it ain't about the views. It ain't. At one point for me, I'm being completely honest, I was trying to grow and get, more views. I think every content creator at some point, you want to get the views, or you want to get the, the gratification that somebody is liking your content. But at this point, because I tapped into purpose, the views don't matter. If ain't but 2 of y'all on here, I'm going to talk to you like there's 2,000 of you. Because I understand the purpose, and I understand that there's going to be people that's going to be watching this, and you might be watching this in the replay. This might be something that saved your life. So whether 2 people watch it or 2,000 people watch it, if I reach that person and help that person to switch, to change, to not make a permanent decision in a temporary place, I did my job. I'm fulfilling purpose. So it's more purpose driven than it is just trying to get likes. I appreciate it. It helps. But at the end of the day, it's all about purpose. And I encourage you guys that are watching me, don't pursue numbers, pursue purpose. Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. Pursue purpose. It's more beneficial, and the feeling lasts a little longer. You can do a video that does, 250,000, a million views, and that's great for a minute, but that feeling goes away. But to know that you impacted somebody's life in a way and it changed their trajectory completely, you can't pay for that. You can't pay for that. So anyway, wrapping up, Anthony, he says, it's always good, man. You are appreciated. Thank you so much, Anthony. I really appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, sir. Thanks for everything. Charles, man, likewise. Thank you. Director says, great message. I needed this. Thank you so much. I will listen to this over and over. Thank you. Team Ramrods, thank you for your transparency. And I see you guys are still dropping in the comments. Recycle the pain. Recycle the pain. Reuse it. Repurpose it. All right? And remember, you can weather any storm. Listen, again, I'm Jermaine Morgan. I appreciate you guys rocking with me this long. And I will see you later. I'm out. Oh, yeah, and there's a video coming soon. I will be doing a side note about this PreSonus Studio Live. So be sure to look out for this video. I'll be doing a review, and I'll be talking about this mixing board that I'm using. So be looking out for that. All right, guys, I'm out. Have a great day.